Power wall goes up. You cannot run, but Fear is not going to let you hide. He wants to try and bring down a Force, but a Force ends the ground. And Champ pulls Fear back in the base after her Force gets a double kill. Leap on the way! The leap on the swap on the leap!
Butchering Brax, phase shift dodges it, but to what end? They've done no damage. Now the song's down and Fnatic are going to move on here.
Both goes, they're losing to the tree line. Denny get a phase shift, and then with Shiva's gone, they're going to jump in. Koro! Big stun, double stun, feed can cancel, Black Hole, won't go. He actually gets two. KYX right up higher, locked in position. A Force with a double kill. Mushi almost dead, and is dead. Mushi down, and SK will buy back, and GG! Navi!
Are you ready? Welcome everybody here to the grand final of the MLG TKO. I am your host as I've been throughout the entire season, TobiWan, no changing of identity right there, and I am here to bring you Where We Bleed Our Blue matchup. That is what we get to do with EG going up against Team Liquid. EG looking in absolutely superb form, going flawlessly through stage 3 of the TKO, while Team Liquid, the team which was able to actually knock out at least Cloud9, but they were of course 3-0 out as well. Sorry, 2-1 out by EG. So it's going to be a hard road for them, especially with standard Demon tonight, but let's see how that road will pan out. We're going straight to the draft, and I welcome in my co-caster for tonight. It's good to be casting with him again. Even though I can't say it's been a very long time since we cast together, it's good to have you back, Synd.
Hello, hello. Just another double check for the voice.
You're fine.
Is my voice okay? Thank you. Okay,
is your voice okay? Yeah. Your audio is
awesome.
Good too. Yeah.
Excellent. So, yeah, glad to be here. I think, yeah, this is the first time I cast in the tournament, so very, of course, thanks for inviting me to commentate the grand finals here. I'm really excited for this matchup for a couple of reasons. I would say that if we backtrack a little bit in terms of the last, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a month with how these teams have developed, if you look back 2 weeks, EG would be a massive favorite for this, like hands down 90% or something like that. But recently Liquid has been showing signs of life. They've been getting back in form, and I feel like I wouldn't say that having Demon as a stand-in is crippling them. I think it's helped them out a lot recently, and they've been showing some better results. They also have some off times during the game where things just go wrong, but at the same time I feel like they also get some big plays, and I think that's just the type of personality Demon is, and that's the kind of games you get with that player. He makes amazing flashy plays, he makes not so flashy plays, and that's what you get.
Yeah, it's probably a better thing too now they've actually pushed him to support, because I'm with you, man. Like just a couple of weeks ago, EG hands down this would be like over in 2 games. But with the way Team Liquid's been playing recently, I'm still not fully confident. I feel like they can at least take 1 game off EG here in this set. But it really is like, it's an identity crisis for Team Liquid. Obviously, there was a big burst of, after the Fluff Flame, they actually found some fire in their lineup, and then
Good
Fluff left. I know, wasn't it? and then we moved into this stage of like mass depression. And then Demon came in and it was a stand, and then I was like, well, okay, this is actually kind of working. And then it didn't work, and then they changed their they changed their positions up, so we get TC back on the carry, we put Demon into the support role, and then things seem to be working again. So I'm kind of hoping they come into this one with a happy mindset. I know Bulba was feeling very happy coming into this game because they were just playing in the Fragbite Masters, and he just came off the back of an awesome Clockwork. So I know he's really feeling happy about this matchup, but a lot of people have felt that before, and that's when EG went 6-0 during the third stage of the group stage. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to tonight's game and to see how we go. And we're already into the draft too, so like an SK? Okay, so...
yeah, I was hoping for an explanation for that, because I have no idea what that's about.
Looking through their previous drafts, it actually has no explanation. Because they haven't done it, at least in competitive games, but knowing these guys, they probably scrim against each other a lot, so I just put it down to that.
Okay, so yeah, I'm with you on the outcome probably being in EG's favor. Of course, I would say if this was a full best of 5, I would still currently choose them as my favorite. But since they're already up 1-0 from having the better result in the previous stage, they should definitely be the favorite. Like you said, they need to win 2 games. Liquid has to win 3. And we talked about Liquid having a stand-in. We should also mention that EG, of course, have one in Mason. But he's been playing really well with the EG squad, I think. He's been doing a great job replacing Fear so far, and I think EG are just really happy with how he's performed, because arguably Fear has kind of been one of the core players for EG for a very, very long time. But the lack of him, even with that, they've still been able to do really well. So very impressive from Mason there.
Yeah, I know when Mason first appeared, both Cap and I were sitting here going, I wonder if he will be okay. And then he just pulls out this amazing Weaver and Mirana play, and you're like, yeah, I think this works. I think at a point we actually said he was gelling so well with the EG lineup, you'd almost didn't want to bring Fear back into the lineup because it was working so damn well. But Fear, I believe, should be returning in next week, so he'll play for him then. Centaur's coming up right now for Team Liquid. I know Bulba is going to be really annoyed at this because he hates Centaur. As I was having some words with him before the game was beginning, and the one thing he said is like, Centaur is just so boring ass hero to play on the off lane. That's why he enjoys something like the Clockwork instead. But it seems like we're going to go with the Centaur as well as the Naga Siren. So a very stable off laner. It could be difficult for EG to get that kill, especially early on if you're looking to run that Ember Spirit as a safe lane here. And Treant Protector Armor, well, I suppose the less Ember Spirit coming close on Centaur, but that's it. At this point, I don't see them getting a kill on the Centaur, which means you can just run a safe lane Naga Siren. Things seem to be rather solid for both teams' lineups. Like, there's potential for killing from EG, and there's a lot of safety coming out from Liquid.
I'm wondering why EG... Is it common for them to pick Treant in the first 2? I feel like this is something I generally don't see. But... Do you remember?
I don't have any flashbacks to them picking it up in the first 2. I'm just doing... In fact, as I was talking before, I was just doing a bit of research, and they have been playing it basically non-stop. In the Starlighter American final, they actually played it in all 3 games, so I assume they prioritized it in that matchup. But that was actually almost exactly the same combination. They ran the tree as well as the Ember Spirit, so I assume they pick it up like the 2 pair in every single time. So either it comes through in the 3rd, 4th, or 1st, 2nd.
Yeah, so the moment when you talk about Ember Spirit together with Treant, I immediately start thinking, okay, how do the mechanics work on this? Because I think you might be hitting the nail on the head here with saying they pick Treant because of Ember, and not for any other reason. It's because they get that set up. So because of that, I'm wondering if the mechanics are that when you have Living Armor on and Flame Guard, that any damage that is blocked by Living Armor is not blocked by Flame Guard. So you can imagine that instead of breaking after 500 magical damage, you break after 500 plus anything that Living Armor blocks first. Do you know if that's the case?
I actually believe it is, because this works on other heroes. I believe I saw, was it Templar Assassin as well as Treant Protector? And the Living Armor was actually blocking before the refraction charges had to get knocked off. So I'm pretty sure mechanically wise that works.
It's absolutely crazy. So if you do a little bit of math on that, of course this is not exactly how it generally happens, but let's say, in theory, you can block 7 times 80 damage with the Treant Living Armor, and then 500 on top of that with Flame Guard. So in total that's more than 1,000 damage. That's 1,000 magical damage you need to get through. And of course, the thing is, if you have Living Armor on and you want to not use magical damage to remove those charges, you need to hit the target 7 times first. And right now, Liquid, they have a good hero to do that with Naga Siren. I think removing Living Armor is really crucial when you're playing against Ember and Storm Spirit, because in this game, I feel like Evil Geniuses are just taking the approach here that, okay, Liquid, if you don't want to pick significant stuns or silences, we're just gonna beat you on mobility alone. Ember Spirit and Storm Spirit are 2 heroes where you need hard lockdown. You need stuns, you need silence, and even something that goes through BKB is really useful. And the only thing Liquid has as a stun is Hoof Stomp.
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna cut it. I wouldn't want to go into this lineup as Liquid without a serious stun and silence here against this lineup.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. And they need something that's gonna come in earlier as well. Like you're now playing up against a Treant Protector, which will allow you to basically run a little bit more of a of an aggressive offlaner, and then you're going to have your jungler, which is the Enigma. So they're pulling in mass amounts of resources with huge amounts of safety and large amounts of initiation coming into the mid game. EG right now is set in a very, very sweet position, and Team Liquid now come on with a DK. This really does feel like they just want to catch out EG with the Naga Sleep, and then push into the early towers with the DK, and just force out the lanes after this point. But how do you force a lane with a Naga Centaur DK? Like, there's a lot of tankability, there's a lot of survivability with this, but they need a high level of push to come. I don't know if Chen or Enchantress is really the answer to this, to try and force down towers. Pushing Naga maybe into a support role will be another option, so you can get another hero which might give you the push you're searching for.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like the way Liquid is drafted now, I'm really happy for them that they got the Dragon Knight, so they have an instant stun with a decent cast range, of course, when you're in ultimate form. I still feel like if Liquid don't play the pushing strat, if they don't try to end this game early, they're going to reach a point at about 20 to 25 minutes where, in my opinion, they will lose the game unless if Naga gets ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
And of course, we've seen that time and time again. It's not really that unusual. The thing is, in this game, EG just have incredible roaming heroes to shut down the Naga with. Ember, Storm are mobile, as we said. Now they get a Beastmaster as well for the roaming and easy gank setup. And of course, as far as teamfight goes, they have two massive AoE ultimates between Black Hole and Overgrowth. And they have excellent initiation. I feel like everything for this EG lineup, the one weakness they have is their lack of counter push early on, because Sleight of Fist is actually really bad in the beginning to do that with, and it's bad against creeps in general. It doesn't really do that much damage. It's mainly to heroes. The supports don't have wave clearing. There's no AoE ability from Treant or Enigma. You only have the access from Beastmaster realistically to stop these pushes, but now that Liquid get a gyro, I feel like this is a kind of lineup where they just need to execute at 15 to 20 minutes and take some sort of objectives on the map, because they have so few stuns against this EG lineup. I feel like it's all eggs in one basket, if you ask me, for Liquid right now.
Well, if they can get those objectives you're talking about, like, if they can bring down tier 1s, tier 2 towers by the 20-minute mark, and I'm meaning every single one, they can't leave a single one out in the field, or else Artesia and Mace are just going to jump all over the map. But if they can bring that down, then all they need is the extra items to push into the high ground or get an early pick-off. And then Team Liquid are good, because then you're going to have Dragon Forms pushing up, you're going to have very, very tanky Centaurs, which will allow them to also run in and initiate. So they do actually have a way to get themselves in. So they have Naga Sleep as a safety net. They're already very tanky with the Centaur as well as the Dragon Knight. They still obviously have the massive, massive problem of no way to really stop a BKB Enigma Black Hole. So if they get caught out by that, which can easily be set up by like either Searing Chains, a Tree ulti, Nature's Guise even would help set up the Enigma. So Gems, Sentries, Dust would also be another priority for Liquid.
Actually, they have one thing.
What do they have?
They have Ensnare, but that is, you know...
What's the chance of not having a Naga Siren smack bang under Enigma?
That is maybe not so little, considering Demon is playing it, so it's being played as a support. And that means he might not commit into the fight in the same way as you do on a carry Naga. Again, in my book, this game will probably not come down to that one amazing BKB Black Hole. Because I'm thinking at the point when EG reach a BKB on Enigma, if they reach that point, I feel like I'm already favoring them at that point.
You're saying you favor Liquid.
Sorry?
You're saying once the BKB arrives for Enigma, you would favor Liquid to win the fight?
Did I say that?
No, you didn't. That's why I was just question marking, because you left it out.
No,
like,
so
you said you'd favor them, and I'm like, is that who?
Let me try to explain my point. If EG reaches the stage when they would have BKB on Enigma, I feel like they've already dodged the bullet that they need to dodge, so they don't even need it anyway. Did that make sense?
That makes sense, but that's why I was going to come back and say, if there's a BKB on Enigma, depending on how long it obviously takes, like if this is a 35-minute BKB on Enigma, I'm still not feeling the magic for EG, because their late game is where they really start to drop off. Like, you're going to get controlled by a Naga supporter, which we know can just transition into a semi-core, and then you can have a Centaur, if he's got decent farm, it's going to be difficult to kill off. Like, you could be jumping raw Storm Spirits, like throwing Orchids out, Ember Spirits trying to get in there and fist him and hold him and chain him, and Centaur will tank up the entire thing. And then you can have a Dazzle on top of that, making sure everyone stays alive, and then you've got the armor bonus coming in for Liquid. And then we start racking in like the negative armor from the Riptide. You got DK who's already got a huge amount of armor, and you're going to rack that up even further. And then you got Gyro who's going to be rocket barraging, flat cannoning down, and living armor can't go on all 5 heroes when they're all jumping in close. So I'm really fearful for EG's stability once they hit the later portion of the game. Liquid's got a wonderful turtle lineup potential. If they keep getting picked off and they lose this game within 15 minutes, and it'll be like a horrendous early game for them, then yeah, Liquid could just pack up their bags and say, let's try for game number 2. But yeah, I'm not sure EG's got the potential to carry this late game.
I feel like what's interesting about this discussion is that we're kind of closing in on the different timing windows that the two teams have, because there are strengths and weaknesses in both lineups, and I feel like if you just isolate Liquid's lineup, if you don't look at what their opponent has, they have a really good pick. They have everything you need. They have good supports, they have good lanes, they have the mid game they need, they have the team fight, they have pushing. All of the synergy between their heroes that you point out makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
But again, for me, the make or break thing here is, can they control EG's heroes when they reach that point? So if Liquid are so strong and so tanky that EG cannot bring them down, I feel like Liquid is going to win the game really early, because they can just keep pushing. They have sustain with Dazzle, they have tanky heroes, they probably pick up a mech on the Naga, I suppose, if they have a good early game. And then EG, with their incredible ganking and very mobile heroes, can't take a brute force fight at that stage in the game. But on the other hand, if EG hit their timing, where Liquid don't really get to do that yet, and they start, exactly like you say, getting pickoffs, especially off the back of Arteezy and Mason, then I'm having a hard time seeing Liquid fighting back. So it's like, EG want to play skirmishers, and Liquid want to play team fight. And then it's about who gets their way, basically.
Yeah. Well, there he goes again. Hopefully we don't have too many problems with this, and we actually get ourselves a game underway. But you're right, man. Like it's the timing, it's everything, and I will definitely concede the point. Like Liquid, they need to push early on. I think that's just what it comes down to. Like, you want to take a team fight, you want to take a tower. You take an extra fight. Okay, we're having ourselves a remake, are we? I guess we are.
Looks like it.
Wonderful. Yeah, but yeah, I'm still interested to see just how well the early game goes. How well does the laning end up functioning? Because the lanes are rather passive. Like, they're very, very passive from EG. You're running an Enigma as well as a tree. And you can't go aggro tri-lane with a tree, even with like the wonderful power of Leech Seed. You're still going to have that real problem of the fact that your tree is just going to give you like he gives you very little, and then Enigma is wanting to be inside the jungle, and he can't give you much more until he gets bigger.
It's actually a really good point. I think if Liquid put their lanes right, they're going to have an advantage from minute 0, because it's obvious Enigma has to jungle here. There's kind of no alternative for EG, else they're jungling a Beastmaster and offlaning Enigma or something crazy, which...
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen, right? So if they jungle the Enigma and they have like a Treant Storm lane or a Treant Ember, it's probably Treant Storm, since Arteezy is playing the Ember Spirit, he's probably going mid. So if they play Treant Storm, and you're playing that against an aggressive Liquid trial lane, where one of the heroes is Gyro, who immediately removes living armor because of Rocket Barrage. We actually didn't even talk about that yet. That might be one of the main reasons Liquid actually last picked the Gyro, is that they want to have something to remove the armor. All of their other damage is basically single instance damage, but that one deals a lot of damage really quickly over many instances. So that will remove the armor. What can EG do if Liquid put the perfect lanes? If they read them, I feel like Liquid will just flat out, before the game even starts, will definitely win the most important lane, and they'll be okay in the two others.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing, man. Like, it's almost like saying, like, if you decode out the whole timing of it, Liquid basically wins lanes early on. There's passiveness coming out from EG, so EG just end up going into what is, I don't want to say a trade-off, but it's grab what you can, and then your Storm and your Ember hit the sweet spot, and then they come out and then force the advantage. And it's at that moment, if they do catch Liquid out and about, then Liquid are screwed. Because Liquid will lose a couple of their core heroes, the Gyro will never get to a BKB, he'll never get to any kind of damage dealing item, and Liquid will be GG'd out of the game. But if Liquid at that point that EG hit their sweet spot and they come out with these two heroes, if that's when Liquid are 4-manning or 5-manning to force down towers, then EG could find themselves in a real bad position. They try and go out for ganks with these two heroes and they waste time. They lose map control, and then your Storm Spirit and your Ember Spirit can't really do much more. You got an Ember Spirit who loves jumping all across the map, but is that ability even going to be useful if you're too fearful to come out past where your tier 2 towers used to stand? Wow.
Yeah, we're theory crafting a lot here, and of course we need to see the game play out.
Yeah,
But,
we're theory crafting because we have a very long pause.
yeah.
So we keep ourselves on topic at least, which for
I
us
feel
is
like
very surprising.
We might actually be able to boil it down to, if Liquid has a good early game and they use it correctly, I think they can take the entire map within 20 minutes or 15 minutes. If they don't get a really good early game, or if they get an even early game, I think EG will beat them by split pushing, because no one on Liquid's lineup can deal with the split pushing Ember and the split pushing Storm. They can't gank them. They can't lock them down.
That's true.
So Storm and Ember, put them on each their side lane, and they just keep pushing out, so Liquid don't get to group up as 5 and start brute forcing, and if they do, they take trades. EG is fine. And if we get to a super late game scenario, I'm not sure who my favorite is really, because you've got a point. Of course, Liquid have a Gyrocopter as carry, and they have a Centaur, both of which will get really big. The Naga is a support, so we're not going to have a game with a 5 or 6 slotted Naga, more than likely, unless if we go 100 minutes, which I don't expect. And then EG in the late game, don't underestimate late game Enigma and Beastmaster. Having hard lockdown is essential to every single lineup in super late game. It's about who has the hexes, it's about who gets the initiation, and about who has the abilities that go through BKB. And EG have 2 of them, with Roar and Black Hole. And then Ember Spirit as well. In a really late game scenario, this guy kills stuff. And I don't know if you want to kind of weigh him against a Gyro or something, if you want to say who is the better carry. I don't feel like you generally can do that in the game. I just want to say, if the fights are extended, to me, Ember is one of the best carries in the game because he deals so much damage over time. You just need the fight to last 12 or 16 seconds so you can use Sleight of Fist 3 or 4 times, and heroes have fallen during that duration. And EG have the setup for it. They can make the fights long with their heroes.
And they'd love fights that go long, because the longer it goes, you can even get...
Oh, they also have Overgrowth. That's another thing that goes through BKB. Just throwing that in there.
True, kind of forgot about that one. Yeah. But the Ember Spirit, man, like, if EG take a fight and the Ember Spirit's still up, TP's back to base, comes out to Wiz Remnant, and off they push again. And that's where I think you're right. Like, EG on split push, EG on pressure, after winning a fight, can deal so much more than Team Liquid can. So if fights go good for Liquid, they'll get a little bit. If it goes good for EG and they keep the Ember Spirit up or a Storm Spirit up, it's...
Collateral, collateral, collateral.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra damage that'll be dished out. I'm praying that Way Too Sexy gets his issues under control. There's prayer.
This is really unfortunate. I don't know, about... I feel like these internet issues are less and less frequent than they used to be, especially if we go back to Dota 1. Oh my goodness.
I'm very happy for the world we live in.
But it's really unfortunate that we have this kind of a delay right now. But yeah, I'm sure he's doing whatever he can to fix it. And I don't know. I really feel like we can't talk more about the game until it starts now, because we've been like all over even all the hypothetical scenarios that we could see, and maybe we've talked so much and none of it is going to happen.
It could be, man. Then we'll have more to talk about. Let's actually talk about our groups, man, because I want to talk about like stage 3. Now,
okay.
EG, through stage 1, we thought, yeah, they're doing pretty decently. The only game they lost, I believe, was in fact to Team Liquid. They went 6-1 through stage 1, while Team Liquid ended up being 5-2. It was Cloud9 that went 7-0 through stage 1, by the way.
Well, then they beat EG.
Yeah.
Right? So Cloud9 beat EG then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. What am I thinking? Then stage 2, we ended up having both EG and Team Liquid tied. Cloud9, something went horribly, horribly wrong, and we ended up going 4-4, and we had EG and Team Liquid come in with exactly the same points coming into stage 3. So everything was even Stevens. And then the fluff debacle happened. And at the time of the Fluff debacle, Team Liquid kind of fell off their rocking horse a little bit. But they still managed to get a 2-1 victory over Cloud9. But EG like 3-0'd both Team Liquid and Cloud9. My point I was kind of like pushing to is, what the hell happened to Cloud9? we talk about the person that's not here.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Cloud9 recently has been a little bit of a volatile team. They have some good days and some bad days, and they were talking about that sometimes, or I think it was Aoi in an interview who actually said that they'd been slacking a bit, but now they were getting back in form and they were going to do great. And then after that, they still had some shaky results. And it can be many things. I feel like one of the things that Cloud9 are a little bit restricted by right now is their playstyle that just was better a little while ago than it is now. The whole Greed and Midas thing that they had a great amount of success with is being counterplayed a lot more. They tend to play a one-core lineup or one-carry lineup with Envy. And then if Envy doesn't pull through in the late game, they tend to lose because both Sing Sing and Bone7 will be playing mid-game utility, whereas a team like EG, they're almost always playing Arteezy on a carry mid laner. In this game, it's going to be Ember Spirit. It's often his Shadow Fiend. What else does he play mid? Morphling.
Drow Ranger.
Storm Spirit, Drow Ranger. And that's the playstyle EG has found, where they play 2 carry cores in every single game. And you see Mason, in this game, he's playing Storm Spirit, but like you said, generally he plays Weaver, Mirana. I'm not sure what else we've seen him on, but they always play this kind of 2 carry lineup. So if they go late game against a team like C9, it's kind of a no-brainer that they're going to win unless C9 plays amazingly in the late game, because they're just going to get out-farmed and out-carried. And C9 has not adapted to that playstyle, I feel like, as well as the other teams have. And you see in this game, Liquid have a good late game lineup as well, so it's not a no-brainer in late game. They have the Gyro and the Centaur, as well as the support Naga, who can maybe get some items up. So they've ensured their late game, and I feel like that's one of the things Cloud9 needs to do. And then maybe they also just had a bad day or two. I mean, that happens to every team.
Yeah. I think you're right, man. You're making me think even more about EG now with their lineup. Like, you talk about like the 2 cores, and then you throw like the offlaner into it too. Like, Universe has been playing a very unique kind of offlaner. This is a guy that people started banning Puck out against EG because he was taking into the offlane. So you push a carry hero into the middle lane, and you put your jump-in initiator on the offlane, who has like your escape mechanism. So it really is very difficult to play your standard game up against EG. Even then, like, they're very random, these guys. Like, they feed when they should farm, and they farm when they should feed. Like, hang on, they should never feed. Doesn't really work that way, does it? But it's such a hard team to read, but always momentum is moving forward. So even if something is lost, there's always a trade. God, I gotta stop watching Full Metal Alchemist. I'm just thinking its equivalent exchange is EG. You don't watch that at all, do you?
Oh no, sorry, I haven't seen that. So
okay, for the anime people out there,
reference you make to that,
EG is equivalent exchange. Yeah, they play Dota with no circle. Yeah. Well,
looks like the players are getting a little impatient. We've got some funny stuff going on in chat.
At this point, I'm wondering if I should even have the screen up. Because just so people know, the way the American teams talk to each other is very different to how a lot of other teams talk to each other. There's no holes barred. The gloves come off.
That's a really interesting point to bring up. We can talk about a lot of different stuff.
We got time? Why not?
We've got time to talk about this and that. So
PvD.
I have a lot of experience. Yeah, Fluff actually tweeted that he could stand in. Just kidding, he did. But
really?
What was his exact tweet? Let me find it. I'll stand in for Liquid way too. Haha, probably can't. That's what he tweeted. But yeah, so the thing, just to follow up on that whole thing with the American scene, is that I don't know where it started and why, but the American scene just has trash talking is just a thing, and it's not half as serious as it is in Europe. Mm-hmm. If there is trash talking going on here, we sometimes make a big deal out of it. in the American scene, I would say in some games is almost you almost make a big deal out of it if there's no trash talk. It's almost expected, and that doesn't, you know, these players are friends and don't flame each other just because they're mad. But it's kind of a game inside the scene itself. And like I said, I don't know where it started, but I can assure you that if you browse, for example, NA Dota in comparison to other Dota communities, it's
I can't look at that website.
It has its own genre or its own jargon, basically, where if you don't understand what's going on, it's going to look like an absolute shitfest, which it isn't. And that's why sometimes when there are Reddit posts made and NA Dota gets involved in that, NA Dota likes being like, what is Reddit doing on our page? They don't understand what's going on. Sometimes, because it's a really different community on NA Dota than on Reddit, for example. But yeah,
Really?
I really don't know where it comes from. I personally don't really mind it so much, but I can understand if it's repelling a lot of people, the way talk is going on. But these guys are just fucking around, to be honest, just having fun.
Can you Steam profile check the Bright? Because it is quite possible that it's actually fluff and stuff.
Okay, let me see. Oh boy.
Because
It actually is.
it's actually fluff and stuff. So we have fluff and stuff standing in here for Team Liquid. There we go. We get a name. Wait, no. Demon. Back the way you were, Buff and Stuff.
I like that nickname though. That's really good. Buff and stuff. It's good.
It's very
for Demon.
demon-esque
It's
as well,
really
isn't it?
appropriate for Demon. Buff and stuff. I like it.
Oh,
Oh god.
well, way to screw with the caster's eyesight during the game, though. So, there we go. He's back to standing Demon. All right, so we have Fluff and Stuff. We have the new stand-in, and we have the old captain of Team Liquid. Well, I wasn't expecting this when I woke up this afternoon.
Yeah. I have no idea what to expect from this game anymore.
Well, I suppose still at the end of the day, it's still going to be okay because like there's going to be no synergy lost here for Team Liquid. I'm just hoping they can all play together as friends. But it's the fact that Fluff and Stuff is still taking up the support role. Demon's in a support role, so those two just have to try and work together. But all other three core roles still stay the same for Team Liquid. So there's no massive modification that's going to say, oh, it'll be like taking Havorst out of Na'Vi and then saying, Fluff and Stuff, go play carry for us. Like, that would cause a lot more problems for the lineup. It's, damn you, Demon. It did come through as Buff and Stuff.
I can personally live with that. I think that's an amazing nickname
I will
for
tolerate. I will tolerate. I'm a bit of a stickler for the name thing.
Okay, now he rejoined with Buff and Stuff Demon, just in case there was any doubts.
Yes!
Okay, now we just need a spectator to load. Please, not a new problem now.
It's a new problem. It's like the Chinese just,
we go.
it's the French.
It's Hugo.
Of course it's the French.
It's the French.
It's the French.
Awesome.
After the Staff Cup,
Alright.
there's hatred for the French.
So what was the other support Liquid had? They had Naga and
Wait.
Dazzle. There we go.
Dazzle. Yeah, that's right. It was the
And
safety net Dazzle.
Yep.
So we go straight into this one. Now the guys over on Join Dota and the database crew have to like work their ass off again. It's like back into the change that name out. So who actually takes up what here as well is going to be my other question. It's the so Fluff and Stuff will actually play the Dazzle here because originally that was just going to be way too sexy doing that. So there's no switch up. It looks like Demon will still play the same support hero it was originally going to, which was the Naga Siren, and everything looks good to go. Everyone's picked up their heroes, but we're missing 2 panels. I never understand that with the all picks when we come back in.
I'm always enjoying watching these assignments that heroes have, you know, with the stars they have for the roles they can take. You know what I'm talking about, right?
You're talking about like when you're actually picking a hero.
No, if you check Ember Spirit's icon right now, there's in the top right there's the green color and then it says agility. And then if you move your cursor down, it says carry and nuker, and then you get a number of stars.
Oh yeah.
What you do. Okay, so the assignment, one thing I'm always laughing about is that the only way Slark has a star, Slark only has stars in Escape. That's what that hero can do. That's his only thing. He doesn't have any stars in Gank or any stars in Carry. And then Ember has 1 star in Carry and 2 in Nuker.
Wait, what?
And none in Ganking, and he's like ultra mobile. I don't actually know if Ganking is one of the categories now that I think about it. I forgot, but
So,
regardless, these assignments are always interesting to see.
so it's just simple. Volvo, please fix.
Well, it's hard. For many heroes, it's really hard to assign them, but yeah, there are some assignments that are a little bit weird, but... Okay, let's see. AG, they
Look at
get
him
into...
check.
Yeah, well, this is...
That's...
Yeah, EG could have done Roche. That's true. They could have Beastmaster Aura. They could have... Well, they don't have... They could have spawned Eidolons out of a Hawk if they wanted to. So then they could have Roached with that.
Then you would have taken the Inner Beast Aura away for the price of that, and then you'd still have to be going with like Living Armor at the very, very start for PPD. But knowing how he probably wants to play this top lane up against the Centaur, it's Leech Seed into hitting Bulba. Make sure he loses that life. Because that's the only way... You actually think about how great this lineup is. Actually, PPD's moving towards the middle lane. So you were actually right about this to a point. Because I wasn't thinking that they'd both be in the same lane. I think PPD was just doing it because Arteezy was busy checking the rune. Yeah, so Arteezy will be in the middle lane with the buff up of Living Armor. But PPD, how's he supposed to zone out Bulba on this top lane? Is it even possible? I know there's a large amount of physical damage that comes from PPD, but not that much.
There's no way in hell he can do that. He can put some pressure on Bulba the best he can, but the problem for TobiWan as far as playing aggressively as a support in the lane is that the only way he can really be aggressive is to use Leech Seed. Or, of course, he can right-click a bit, but yeah, he's going to hit once or twice and then Bulba will be out of range for the next swing. But you can use Leech Seed, but that's a 140 mana cost ability on a hero with 234 mana right now with 1 branch. So he can use that once, then he has to Clarity. And Bulba has 4 tangos and a salve. I don't think they can stop Bulba from farming here. So the question is what the trade-off is in the bottom lane, where Universe also seems to be getting some stuff.
He can't do anything really on that bottom lane though. Quover is actually very, very low, but he's ball just arrived for mid. But this bottom lane, like Universe gets Riptided up, and then he gets Poison Stinged up. It's a very good thing he brought a large amount of consumables to this bottom lane, because if he gets even slightly caught out, once that level 2 is up and they have Ensnare, that means you got Rocket Barrage available. You can have a huge amount of damage coming out from this Liquid lineup. But until then, Quover. So I also got to keep my eyes on this middle lane too, because I'm realizing like Arteezy and Quover are playing to the absolute limits of their heroes. Like 1 Breathe Fire and Arteezy possibly could have gone down then after 1 extra hit from Quover.
Yeah, it's an interesting lane because the way Ember Spirit plays aggressively in lane is, of course, he exposes himself to melee range with the opponent. And if you're playing against Dragon Knight, whose biggest weakness in the lane is that he generally can't catch up to his Dragon Tail, they suddenly have a really interesting matchup here. If there's any sort of rotation coming in from Liquid, Arteezy could end up killing himself.
A little bit of trouble right now, buff and stuff. It's Demon slowing down Universe. The Rockets on the way in too, so they can get themselves in front of Universe. So there's a secondary block here now with a Riptide, Rocket Barrage, and the heal with the mirror images of Demon. Combining up there with Fluff and stuff, they're able to get the kill on this offlane Beastmaster.
I'm gonna laugh once or twice more about buff and stuff. I'm sorry, but that's absolutely hilarious. That's one of the better names I've seen in a while. So, First Blood Liquid, good rotation there, and of course showing the power that Dazzle and Naga can have together. That wasn't even Mirror Image, it was actually Illusion Runes, but
was it?
Mirror
Okay.
Image, it's the same scenario they can get.
Realize
when
that
Naga
yes,
has
level
those,
1 Demon. Whoops.
Yeah, when they... Of course, the Shadow Wave, Naga Dazzle is actually a classic lane because you can ensnare, you run to the target, you mirror image, and then you immediately get the Dazzle heal, which deals a lot of damage. So that's a great combo in its own right, but at the same time, sure they get 1 kill on Universe, but he's still reached level 3. He's actually getting roughly the same experience as Bulba is in the top lane, which means that Universe isn't being kept down that much either. And if Zai is free jungling on an Enigma early on, you can already see the experience going EG's way by about 1,000, even though they got First Blooded. Okay, now it went up a little bit, but still, solid 600 right now for EG, jungle advantage only.
Yeah, it's nowhere near what EG were probably looking for at this early stage. Like, do we go back to our 5-hour conversation we had before this game started during the pause, where we talked about these kind of timings, and if Liquid wins on their lanes, they're doing fantastically. And now Courier as well, movement speed. It's a good thing that thing's flying. If that was Bulber able to pick off the Courier, I almost want to say this top lane is completely lost for EG, because the amount of experience the Bulb's going to pull from here, and the little effect the PPD has on this lane. It's like, for right now, I'm looking at all lanes as a fairly even trade for Liquid, which for them is a fantastic thing. Even top lane, Bulb is trying to be harassed down by Mason, but he can't do much on this top lane at all. And Bulb just keeps pulling the creep wave down. He's got boots and a stout shield with just stick charges, and that's still enough for him to stand on this top lane, just because of his high physical strength as well as the return ability. And the potential he has to still initiate. Speaking of that, we got Demon pushing up top lane. He's coming up inside of smoke, and they're going to try and catch out Storm Spirit before level 6.
This is not going to end well, unless if they find Enigma. I think that might be what they're trying. No, actually.
They could try and get PPD. No, they want Storm,
They're
man.
not going to kill Mason here with the living armor.
Well,
there's no way.
Ensnare. Hoofstomp's going to go. The nice Vortex back in again. Hoofstomp's now going to catch out too. Living Armor is doing his work. And now Demon, well, he's up way too far. One more attack there from Mason. It's not enough damage, but Demon, he's got TP out in the corner. Try to do it instantly, and they see him with a static remnant. And you're right, man.
That was just a naive gank, I think. That was... I'm not sure how that was supposed to work, because this lane doesn't have a counter to living armor. And with Trent being level 3, you can expect that to be level 2. He puts that on Mason, they can't remove it. And the entire way this gank works, okay, maybe if Demon has mirror images so they can take off the living armor first, but that's still a hard play to make. Yeah, he really wanted to do that, but that gank to me didn't really make too much sense. Anyway, what I want to talk about for a moment is the Centaur top lane, because you have a good point, he's getting a lot, but if we start weighing pros and cons for the teams and getting levels on their offlaners, I think the levels on Beastmaster are more important.
Yeah.
So what you get on Centaur is Stampede. Oh yeah, let's see.
There was just a little bit of support coming in mid lane. Yeah. It's okay.
Saw that as well. Nothing. So if you get Stampede on Centaur, that's obviously a great tool for your team, but it generally counters slows. And if there's one thing EG almost doesn't have, it's actually slows. They have tons of lockdown, which Stampede doesn't counter. So it doesn't counter Overgrowth, it doesn't counter Vortex, it doesn't counter Beastmaster ult. To an extent, it's good against Malefice, I would say, but it does nothing against Searing Chains either. If you are caught already, you're kind of locked down here against the EG lineup. So I think the Roar on Beastmaster is going to be more important than the Stampede. As yeah, speaking
Universe.
Of Beast, dead.
Yeah, he's gonna
very caught out.
He's gonna reach his Roar. But once you get ensnared and called down like that, like, he's got nowhere to run away. He's like the only hero right now on EG that won't have high or some level of maneuverability. Because you got like Invis for the tree, you got Storm with his jump, you can have Enigma, who I assume Blink Dagger at some point. If he doesn't just go straight to BKB, and Ember Spirit obviously highly maneuverable. But Beastmaster can easily get caught out. While
gonna have trouble top.
Yep. Storm Spirit jump him into the leech seat, Malefice done, and they commit the black hole as well. Now that is a level of like, I don't know if that's just hatred towards the Centaur or not, or so just trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
Maybe they were worried about Naga coming in, but no, even then the black hole wouldn't have stopped the sleep, and there is no sleep.
Yeah, I think a Malefice might have cut it there, but at the same time, there's probably not going to be a scenario in the next 3 minutes where Zai is going to really need the black hole. So I guess better safe than sorry there. Just get the kill and start pushing the tower here. So Bulba TP's back up. I don't know if there's any support actually able to TP. Naga does have one, but first tower of the game. We were talking about how Liquid in the early mid game have a really good lineup for taking down towers. I don't think they even get a chance if EG are the first to get rolling on the tower board. So if we get a mech on Enigma, I think EG are able to teamfight against Liquid's lineup. And if they start taking towers, we're going to see that split pushing and ganking lineup from EG going into full effect. So Liquid need to be really careful that this pushing train doesn't just come to another lane.
What I'm actually surprised is the fact that Liquid don't have any pressure out. Like, that middle lane mainly is where my eyes moved to. And I checked to see how much damage DK was able to dish out to that mid tower, and it's minimal to nothing. Like, he goes back to farm up a little bit more now, fearing that there's going to be some hunts coming out, even though there's a good observer ward down there from Liquid in the mid lane. But the pressure onto that tier 1 tower in the mid, like, it's just not there from the DK. And normally that's what's meant to drag off the extra supporters. Like, Universe has to come into middle lane and throw the Roar out, or Enigma is pulled out of his jungle. Like, Enigma has basically finished up his mech apart for, like, in his 500 gold and he has mech up and running. There's just no pressure forcing EG to do anything. So their transition into this mid game is going to be absolutely perfect because they've had all the time in the world to get these critical items up and running.
I think a hero like the Ember Spirit is going to be really important to look out for here. So the way Arteezy is skilled, this is something I'm seeing more and more frequently, that you skip the Flame Guard. He's going to get that now, I think, over Searing Change. The last skill point in Searing Change isn't that good. Obviously, the duration is already 3 seconds, which is the main part about it. But when he starts getting up Flame Guard and he has this high level of Sleight of Fist early on, maybe EG can teamfight and defend towers. He's TPing down to the bottom lane right now, Enigma. No mech yet, he's 100 gold short, so Liquid might have hit a good timing window here, but just look at the harassment that comes out here from Arteezy. And these are so short cooldowns, he can do it again in 4 seconds.
Yeah. And Fluff and Stuff can't keep the life points up high enough. Demon is too low. TC is also very, very low here. And the pushing pound to go Dragon Tail stun off. With the call down, Arteezy's got nowhere to jump out to. Slightly overcommitting himself. He tried to get the Ember Spirit down so then he could jump himself out with the Remnant, but just not fast enough. And now Liquid have an opportunity to damage down this tier 1 tower.
I think pursuing there for Arteezy was actually a good play if he had left a Remnant behind already, because the only stun Liquid had was a Dragon Tail level 1. And you saw him surviving through that, and he started throwing out the Remnant, but it was just too late.
Yep.
So he can play really cocky here as long as he does have a Remnant down, which he didn't. So a little bit of an overextension from Arteezy. They still defend the tower, at the very least, and it just creates a lot of space for Mason, who is playing the, I don't know if I could call this the Envy build, because he was the first I saw doing it competitively at least. Running the Soul Ring build on the Storm Spirit early on, of course, a really effective way to make use of your Ball Lightning, since it's percentage based, so the burst you get from having a low mana pool and a Soul Ring is really significant.
So what's also significant is the fact he's got a Haste Ring bottled up inside of him right now.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier for you to escape as well, I'll give you that.
Yeah. But between Storm Ulti as well as Haste Ring, even if he wants to initiate, that's good. And speaking of that, bottom lane is be where we check it. So there's Smoke up, there's Beastmaster, as well as Enigma coming in. The Spirit is just trying to hold him there, and Dazzle evaporates. Demon got the ulti off at least, so they're able to back up, and he'll just TP himself out. While Koitfa, he's got to hide inside the tree line, or else he'll get caught off. But the Hawk is coming in. He's in trouble. Storm Spirit's on the way in, and there's Mason. Haste Rune triggered, as well as long jump in. So they lose the Dazzle as well as the DK. And this will now mean they'll lose the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane.
And if they... I'm going to say, if they lose this tower, and they lose the mid tower as well soon, I feel like EG are already in a... You know, of course you have a significant advantage if you're 3 towers up. That's how it always is. But just the way the lineups work right now, I feel like EG's advantage with the playstyle they're setting up for here, getting early towers is like a luxury. It's not something they should necessarily have even had in Liquid's lineup.
They're going to try and have a crack on PPT. There's a lot of heroes coming in. The cooldown from TC is going to make sure that Arteezy is not going to be too comfortable in this one. But with the Living Armor, the timing from PPT, and the Leech Seed, he's just more than enough life points to survive that initiation from Liquid. And there's the first use of the Centaur ulti you're talking about. And just how ineffective it kind of was.
They only had the one... Did they open with a stun on the Treant, I think, from the Dragon Knight, maybe? Or they at least got it off?
It looked like that was the way, as, well, it looks like Gyrocopter just burst into a million pieces inside of his own jungle.
Right, that one play that just happened right now between Universe and Mason, this play is going to happen another 5 times in the next 10 minutes, where Universe plus either Mason or Arteezy will find a core on the map and kill it. I'm almost certain, because if Liquid, this is what I was trying to get at, if they lose their map control and EG starts split pushing, Liquid's farming area gets smaller. So they need to be taking bigger risks to get farm, or they're going to get out farmed. And every time they take a risk, it's a risk. And then you just, the kind of lineup EG has can punish you so incredibly hard for it. And they just have everything they need right now. And I feel like EG with a 5k gold lead and 3k experience lead are in a much better position than Liquid would have been with the same lead, just because of the 2 game plans and how they play up against each other.
Yeah. I'm with you on it too, man. This isn't the way I saw the Liquid lineup really working at all. And like the only things you can cling for hope is Bulba maybe finishing up that Blink Dagger shortly. Like, he's another 100 or so gold away. Then they're going to have their initiation. But now also smoke movement from Fluffer Stuff. It's going to lose his own life. He's going to Shallow Grave almost instantly and then try and TP out. But the chains just last too long, which means he'll never get the TP completed. Walks up to the high ground, stick charge for the quick fist from Arteezy. Ends up bringing down our former Liquid player who's now our stand-in for this evening.
I feel like this play from Fluff, maybe they should have had more heroes doing that job, but it's what Liquid needs right now. They need vision, and for him to sacrifice his life like that, it might be worth it to place 2 good wards for Fluff to die right now, because without vision, Liquid are just going to get cornered on their side of the map, and it's the one thing that is almost definitely going to lose them the game. So if they can at least get some vision, they can get a chance of not getting picked off, maybe getting some fights on their terms, and now with the Blink Dagger on Bulba, if they have aggressive wards, or at least decently aggressive wards, they will see EG coming. And then they can get the initiation, like you said. I think Arteezy is the target of choice right now. And we'll see. There's the smoke. And Arteezy's continuing. He's going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Well, there's Universe jumping in, and he's also there from the side, but the blink in for the Hoof Stomp, the follow-up Dragon Tail, and Arteezy will go down, or maybe not! No. He has enough one charges, and now he can just pop the regeneration rune. He stuns up. He's almost killed off Fluffer Stuff with this DD rune that's still on top of him. Pop your regeneration rune, Arteezy. There we go. So for everything Liquid just threw in just then, Arteezy lives.
That's kind of an ill omen, right? Because Liquid got a Centaur Stomp off, a Double Edge, they got a Dragon Tail, they got multiple nukes. They didn't have everything. Gyro wasn't there. Of course, if he's there, Arteezy just flat out dies through living armor, but the fact that this gank fails must be, you know, a team can lose a lot of momentum from trying something like that and getting shut down.
This could be a moment right now. They've still got cooldown available. No Centaur ulti. But the Dragon form is also coming to an end, but because the Observe Ward, they knew what was happening. Koifa moves towards the front lines, so at least he can tank up a little bit more, and now they find PPD. Overgrowth is still available for him, and now does he go down in time? The Roar is buying the time, never got the ulti off. Cooldown also not making it too easy for EG, but TC, well, he's going to lose his teammates in a moment, but Demon, a savior as far as the song goes, and TC, well, he'll be able to TP himself away to safety. They kill off PPD, they stop the Roshan attempt. Liquid for now live, but with no Naga sleep, they cannot control Roshan. Not inside the pit, as much as they would hope.
That was such a crucial song of the Siren right there. He saved TC, he stopped the black hole on 2 heroes, and Demon's positioning in that fight for me was just perfect. This is what he needs to do. He has to be on the outskirts of the fight so that he can reset. And he's playing without mirror image, so he can't... I actually think he should have had 1 point in that so that he could send in the mirror images and use the Riptide, because he can't commit his hero. If he commits to the fight, he's going to get shut down by EG, and then they're just going to snowball off that. It's the one escape that Liquid have. And I'm saying that for a team that has Stampede, but I don't consider that a reliable escape against Storm Spirit and Ember Spirit. I don't think that's enough to get away.
It's not, but they're going to have to really worry about Naga Siren in the future. Now the Orchid is done over on Storm Spirit. I'm pretty sure Mason's going to try and focus down Demon.
So farmed.
Yep. So you got him being farmed up. I also love the fact that PPD bought a gem for Universe, and this is Liquid going blind. You talked about the fact, like, Fluffer Stuff trading his life for 2 good wards. Now it's EG sending Liquid blind to the map. They have 1 sentry ward here in mid, which for them is possibly, like, it's an inch away from that dire Observer ward, like, being able to see it. So they're already going to get frustrated about that. But EG have this aggressive ward placing everywhere through the Radiant side jungle, and then 1 across the mid. There's just nowhere for Liquid to move, and this top lane, I don't know, like, the last time I saw a hero from Liquid enter this top lane, but it's been a while.
Yeah, and now they're going to go with 4, because they want to show on that lane. They want to show that this lane still exists in the game. No, actually, they're going to jungle. Okay, here comes, yeah, the entirety of Liquid. I feel like this is a desperation move, because they know where this game is going right now. So they either get a trade or they get a team fight, and if they lose this fight, to me, I know it's kind of drastic to say it, but it's almost unrecoverable because of the composition of their lineup being unable to deal with any sort of split push. So what's EG gonna do? They're trading top for mid as it looks right now. Arteezy's actually been spotted out, or at least TC or Ping is pinging.
I don't think Arteezy cares, man. Like, he's just forcing him to look up. It's more of a delay, and now the trade, they can look to defend. There's the call down though, Arteezy, maybe just playing a little bit overconfident, but then Living Armor, out to the Spirit, jumping in deeper, out to the Spirit, TP out. Damn, he moves so quickly, and now they've only just brought down the tier 1 tower in the top lane, while Zaya's just reached the tier 2 tower in mid. It's just
This
it's
is-
smoke and mirrors from EG.
This is what we were talking about before the game started, actually. How good it is to have living armor together with the
Naga.
Ember Spirit here.
I'm not quite sure
buff and
about this
stuff.
from Demon. He's going to try and give this a crack now with the Centaur ulti coming off. Centaur stop. The living armor's protecting Zai for the moment. Fluff will keep the heal going on Demon, keeping him alive for now. And now Naga throws out the ulti. He's stopping the play for the moment, but it's buying time for EG to come in. Mason's about to jump in through the rear and wait for it to come in. He goes straight on top of Demon, dragging him back. The Shadow Grave from Fluff will keep Demon alive for now. The buff is being protected by the Fluff, and he'll in fact go down right in front of the middle of EG. They've lost their 2 supporters, and the cause can't do anything about this bar. What? A call down? That at least damage down Arteezy, but living armor keeps him up. And they'll force the tier 2 tower, and I don't think they have the confidence to go for the tier 3 yet. And the man who was
Living armor's
absent from
just-
all of this was just Koitfa. And now Storm, long jump. Orchid's in. He needs the vision. There's the syndereN to give him the vision. Zai will follow up. It's worth the hold for this one, but they don't need it. Koitfa will die up on this top lane. Mason will pick himself up another kill. Now going 4-0-2 on this Storm Spirit.
I think Koikva did the right thing here, trying to split push. He did die, but almost took the tier 2, so at least they got some sort of trade. I think if he comes back there, he's just
TC's
going to
in
be
trouble.
useless as well. Bottom lane.
Yeah, there's your overgrowth going, but TC triggers off the BKB. Might get some revenge kills here, but then again, he needs to see PPD. Rather large problem, and now problem solved. With the gem that's over on Fluff and stuff. Oh,
It's
buff
on
and
Buff and
stuff.
Stuff.
Sorry, wrong. I got the wrong stuff.
I can't get enough of this nickname. I wish he's going to keep that.
I hope he doesn't.
That's awesome.
It's,
Mid lane, Arteezy.
he's
Nice try. He almost disjointed that with a sleight of fist. I guess that's what he was trying for, and he's going to find a DD rune at this point, and actually going for a Maelstrom build here on the Ember Spirit. I don't feel like we see that so frequently. Of course, a really great build for split pushing and for doing spread damage in the team fight instead of really hard single target damage. And the way the game is going right now, I feel like this is going to be a good decision in this game. They don't need heavy physical damage on Arteezy yet because there is a BKB on Gyro and maybe one on Dragon Knight soon. But again, the mobility of EG, it's just about stalling out the fights and just pushing out lanes and slowly damaging heroes over time. Maelstrom is excellent for that.
I'm still interested to see though how effective it's going to be later in when Liquid do force another fight. So there's a smoke up from EG, so they're obviously looking to murder somebody. But these BKBs have arrived, at least for Koitfa, and the one has arrived for TC. Obviously, it's now only a 9-second BKB, but that does exist.
Size items. What's his net worth? Yeah, he has the second highest net worth in the game on a position 4 Enigma.
10k. He's only 1k behind a Storm Spirit who's got like 4 kills. What the heck?
He's got Soul Ring, Medallion,
Storm
BKB,
Mason.
Mech, and Treads.
Can he grab TC before the BKB goes? Nope, but they definitely have that Ember Spirit going in. Roar as well on Demon, and Demon Shadow Grave will protect him. He's got 4 seconds until he can get the sleep off. The BKB oldie from Enigma is holding Koitfa, and now in comes TC. Overgrowth to go, but the Flag can do some serious work here for TC. He can't kill off Mason. He needs him down, but it's just the Aegis of the Immortal that's lost. Mason will pick up a triple kill, and then through the power of the Aegis, come back to life again as his reward for his good deeds in the world of the living.
And he is going to bag himself. What's that?
That's a full. That's a full
22-minute
Bloodstone.
Bloodstone Orchid. Yeah. Okay.
Life.
Game is hard.
Yeah. And Arteezy's walking around with an extra 2k gold after that last fight too. They're just looking so damn strong, EG. And I know we came into this game expecting them to do this kind of stuff. And I kind of thought with the draft from Liquid that they would have like a lot of safety and tankability. They thought maybe like EG when they jumped them, the DPS would just go off their backs and they wouldn't give a crap about it. But they just don't have any map control at all here, Liquid, that I thought they were going to get in the early stages. There's no advantage for them during the team fights. The BKBs don't do enough anymore because they just get controlled up.
We're 23 minutes in, you know, that's the crazy thing. We're 23 minutes in and we feel like the BKBs aren't doing enough. This is generally when heroes pick them up. Around the 20-minute mark is a decent timing when you have another core item
But
first.
Koitfa never got his off. He had it during the last fight, and he got black hole before he even got like his combo up.
I think even if he had it off, he was still dying that black hole. That's the problem. So
Yeah.
here's the issue for Liquid, is that they don't get, even if they get a 5-on-5 fight, they never get the fight on their terms, because EG
Zai's
is
coming
just
in
flanking.
through the rear. There's already a jump in from Bol, but this was before the BKB went, so they'll get Enigma down, but they use so much for him, and that's why Demon, they trigger off both Centaur ulti, the DK ulti, and the BKB. The cooldown's buying some space. Zybel back in this game so he can be part of this fight. TC's being dragged back in again by Mason. Shellowgrave will keep him alive. Demon can't do much more, but this Bulba, wonderful jump in with the double edge. It's huge damage on the EG, but they're just too far in front. Liquid are getting walked over. Fluff and stuff will try and TP out. Might be successful to do so, but EG will push for the mid ranks now.
Or will they? Did Arteezy make a remnant? No, he didn't.
He just went back to base with no remnant?
That's actually a little surprising. I thought they were gonna try to at least do some damage on the tier 3. I don't think he used a remnant, so...
That's what I thought too. Maybe they're a little bit concerned, because that was a big jump in by Bulba.
Yeah,
Like-
he saved that fight, and they got 1 kill off of it, but if he didn't do that, they would probably have lost their racks now, because at least he forced some... He got a kill, he forced the hero back to base in Arteezy, and that bought some time there. But I still feel like, you know, this game, with the tier 3 falling right now and a 15,000 gold lead and experience lead, if the only way Liquid can ever come back in this game is with a carry Naga now, and he's being played as a support. I don't think any other hero can give a comeback. And Universe is going to have some fun now with a Dagon on Beastmaster, because why not? Having some extra burst is always good.
If you're able to get him
But he
down
could buy
before
whatever he wanted at this stage.
Look at Bulba. He's wanting to jump top lane. Problem is he can't get close enough and still make sure he can nail onto Zai. And with Arteezy sitting behind him, it's almost like he's using his Enigma as bait. Look at Bulba. He fakes the first hoof stomp, just in case there was going to be that jump in from Ember Spirit. It's just, yeah, I'm trying to stay optimistic about this, but it's just trying to, like, I don't know.
I think Liquid are too, but it's, oh, interesting. Teams with that's a good stat. So, that's what we're looking at right now. Teams with the kind of lead EG has right now are 723-0 on record.
Okay.
How optimistic do you want to be?
how insulting would it be if EG lose from this?
This is, you know, I was about to say this is almost impossible. And of course the statistics, you know, there's always going to be an odd one out, but so far the statistics say it is impossible.
Yeah.
To lose this kind of game. And I feel like the next thing that's going to happen is EG will perhaps wait for another Roshan if they feel like waiting that long, and then they're just going to siege. And with a Blink Dagger on Treant and now on Enigma, they have everything they need to initiate. There's no kind of... I'm trying to imagine a scenario where EG just plays correctly and still lose the fight, and I can't think of one now. Because no matter what they do, as long as Storm initiates on Naga with the Orchid, and they kill Naga, the fight is over. Because no matter how Liquid follow through, there's a counter from either Blink Overclock or Blink Black Hole.
He just blinks himself away. Even the smoke gang, like the only thing I can think of is like Liquid getting ganks. Like they just go out there and they find one hero, they go to another hero, they go to another hero. Like that's the way Liquid can work their way back into this one. But now they've been completely spotted out, and they got no other alternative but to back up. And PBD is walking around, and Bulba, oh, he attempted to blink away. There's too much maneuverability on
kind
EG.
Of toying with them right now.
Yeah.
Tower is under attack.
But
Liquid's being attacked from 3 fronts.
now they get in there.
Oh, there we
Universe,
go.
finally, there's the opening. They bring down the Beastmaster now. PBD's on the run out of here. He's not spotted up, but they do catch out Mason. Now there's a quick stun, but he's Storm Spirit. He's going to jump himself away, and it's the Storm Spirit with 12 Bloodstone charges. The care factor is minimal. And then Zai, forcing out the top lane, blinks himself away. They'll at least mop up the conversions here, but it's a small pickup. Yeah,
that was just cocky from EG at this point. Of course, they're really far ahead, and playing this kind of a triple flank can be, you know, if they get a kind of opportunity there, having 3 angles to initiate from is great, but of course the risk is if the enemy team realizes, they just run in on one of your angles and crush that first, and Universe just got caught out by the Stampede there. So, was that actually a gem that they lost? Because then that's kind of a big kill?
The gem's over on the Storm Spirit now.
Oh, yeah, that's
Mason
right.
has the gem. But then again, that's also That's Demon's gem that he's holding on to, while Naga Siren has PPD's
gem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both teams have a gem anyway.
Yeah. It's just traded hands a little bit.
I think it's go time for EG.
Yeah.
Arteezy with a double damage could be enough to close the game now.
They could wait it out, man, because Roshan's coming up in a moment, and I don't know what just happened to him.
Oh god.
What did he just do?
He held down shift when typing to his team, I guess. So he all chatted, rolling on the floor laughing. Oh well. But this double damage doesn't do that much because he doesn't have a damage build, or he doesn't have significant stats to make the double damage that much better. Of course, he actually has no plus agility almost. He has a bit from the drum and the wand and 1 point in stats, but so the DD isn't extremely sick on him, but it's still a significant boost.
Or jump, Pulver and TC. These are the two tankiest heroes over here on Team Liquid. Oh, next to DK, of course. And they just lost a fifth of their life points from one fist. And Koifa had to go back to base. You actually see what he's building into. This almost feels like even more desperation. Not only have you got a BKB, I assume it's not a Crystallis, and I am assuming that it's actually a Blade Mail.
I think it's a Crystallis.
You think he just goes straight out for damage from this point?
I don't think they have a choice. You know, it's all in damage time. I think TC's going for Rapier as well, because if Liquid can't kill EG's heroes fast, they're going to get outmaneuvered. We've kind of talked it to death now, but let's just mention it one more time for fun.
Okay.
If they can't kill heroes during their 2 stuns, they don't kill anyone. That's basically the way I'm seeing this right now. Or at least they don't kill the really crucial cores for EG, which are Storm and Ember. So if they have ridiculous damage, they can actually just take a brute force fight. And maybe with a Crystallis on Koifa and a Rapier on TC, they might have enough damage to do that. Else, I don't see it happening. If TC doesn't get a Rapier now, Liquid has lost the game. That's like the absolute last chance that they have. And I don't think he's even going to reach it. No. I think it's the right call.
If they wait it out and they try and fight EG from inside their base and just keep going with that kind of level of farm, then it's okay. But it kind of feels the reason why they're trying to force down this tier 1 tower in the mid. Like, they know Roshan's coming up. Like, everyone has to, and there goes, he actually does go down. Agassi Maul's now in the Storm Spirit. So again, okay, really bad time to fight. Koifa's going to be pulled back, and already Mason, well, the Dragon Tail Stun will go, and the BKB comes up once. A good call down through the rear, but Zai's BKB is protecting him nicely, and now Demon, he lit up the ulti, and the Black Hole's going to be completely wasted because the BKB wore off. Now Koifa underneath the tower, Mason will finish the job there. Bulba's trying to hold Arteezy in position with the double H, does a decent amount of damage, and again TC, the flag can tries to go, but it's just too much. GG! Demon just as we lose.
We lost. That's a new way of saying GG coming out here from Buff and stuff.
It's a WG from the Buff and stuff.
We lost.
Well,
yeah.
That wraps up
really
game 1.
That game. That was a very one-sided affair, and it kind of came down to what we talked about before the game started. Was if EG got off to a good start, they would reach a mid-game stage when they could just kite in fights and just beat Liquid on mobility. And I feel like EG actually maybe even got more than what was expectable because they didn't have the greatest heroes to push towers with early on, but they made the right rotations and the right calls. And getting the 2 tier 1s they got early, as well as some good ganks, just set it up to be a really easy game for them. I would be surprised if we get this one-sided game 2. Of course, EG are the favorites, but it doesn't really get much more one-sided than this, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was basically EG's game, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, those early towers. Once they went down, Ember and Storm had all the space in the world. And that's like a Storm Spirit who went 11-0-7. Like, I don't want to say it, but there might be a petition to keep Mason inside of EG. He's playing too well right now. And the rest of the team made the space for him. It was beautiful plays. The Living Armor was a real problem for Liquid's early ganking. They gank on the top lane. I'm pretty sure we'll just say, oh, that's Jimmy. But yeah, that kind of stuff can't happen in game number 2 if Team Liquid don't want to have this go in a straight loss. And that's what could happen, because there's the 1-game bonus advantage for Evil Geniuses because they went 6-0 during the last stage of the knockout, which means they take a 1-game advantage into this, and now they're 2-0 up over Team Liquid. Team Liquid, will you give us a 3rd game for our night tonight, or do we pack up and go home early? Stay tuned, we're going to find out together, peoples. We'll see you shortly.